Proverbs 14:12 says, there is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end is death. Proverbs 16:25 repeated the same thing. There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, and the end is death. Now, because of that, it then shows that we must be very careful how we live our lives so that the end will not result to death. God said this word, that I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but that the wicked should turn from his wicked ways and live. That is why today we want to look at the way of the wicked so that we can understand what is the way of the wicked.
Please don't forget to like and subscribe.
My name is Alexander Idogo, and this is Encounter with His Word, a Bible study series where we go and teach all nations according to Matthew 28:19, the message of the Great Commission. So we want to look at the way of the wicked. There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, Proverbs 14:12, but the end is death. Now, I want to look briefly, for the purpose of this study, what do we mean when we say wicked? Because many times we use the word, this man is wicked, this one is wicked, you are wicked. It's a word we use commonly. But let's see what the Bible have to say. And let's look at various definitions first. The first one is that we'll look at the Hebrew word. The Hebrew word wicked means rasha and is translated ungodly, or one who is wicked. So rasha means ungodly, or one who is wicked. That is rasha. Number two, the Greek word is athesmos. Athesmos means lawless, one who is lawless, which means by implication a criminal. And you understand that a criminal is one who breaks through the restraint of the law and gratifies his lust. And that person is known as one who is wicked by our standard. Criminal who breaks the law is said to be wicked. So the Hebrew word rasha and the Greek word athesmos means wicked. Now let's look at the International Bible Encyclopedia that gives the definition of wicked, which states that wicked means the state of being wicked, a mental disregard for justice, righteousness, truth, honor, virtue, evil in thought and life, depravity, sinfulness, and criminality. You see that the International Encyclopedia expanded it. Now, the fourth one is the Macmillan English Dictionary for Advanced Learners define the principal meaning of wicked as morally wrong and deliberately intending to hurt people. When you deliberately intend to hurt people, it further says that the word wicked is believed to derive from the Old English word wickham, which means a wizard. And who is a wizard? A wizard is one who, by all means, deliberately hurt people through fetish, dubious, demonic means. So that word wicked comes from, the English word comes from a wizard. Now, let's look at the condition of the wicked, and we'll take some Bible verses for a better understanding. The first one is in Genesis chapter 13, verse 13. It said the men of Sodom were wicked. And you know what happened to them? They were later destroyed. Even when Abraham was praying, he said, "Oh God, will you destroy the righteous with the wicked?" If you read Genesis 19, will you destroy the righteous with the wicked? Now, number two, in Psalm 37, verse 12, he said, he mentioned the plot of the wicked, which means the wicked, they have a plot. In Psalm 12, verse 8, he talked about the work of the wicked. In Psalm 9, verse 17, he said, the wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget God, which is the condition, the fate of the wicked. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget God. In Psalm 36, verse 1, it mentioned the transgression of the wicked. While in Psalm 7, verse 11, it said God is angry with the wicked every day. In Psalm 37 verse 32, he said, the wicked watcheth over the righteous and seeketh but to slay him. When you go to Psalm 64 verse 2, he said, he mentioned the secret counsel of the wicked. In Psalm 73 verse 3, it mentioned the prosperity of the wicked. In Psalm 112 verse 10, it mentioned the desire of the wicked shall perish. While in Psalm 10 verse 4, it mentioned the pride of the wicked. In Ezekiel chapter 33 verse 8, it mentioned that the wicked shall die in his own iniquity. Now, in Psalm 3 verse 25, it mentioned the desolation of the wicked. While in Numbers chapter 16 verse 26, it mentioned the tent of the wicked. Why are we bringing all this? For you to see the condition and the fate of the wicked. It is not pleasant, it's not pleasurable. Now, the wicked, you may be prospering in what you are doing in your enterprises, and you may be healthy, you think everything is okay. As long as you are a wicked man, it means you are lawless, you hurt people, you have disregard for people, it's ungodly, it's unrighteous. To be wicked is to be sinful. To be wicked is to be arrogant. In 1 Samuel chapter 2 verse 9, it mentioned that the wicked shall be silent in darkness. In Proverbs chapter 4 verse 19, it says the way of the wicked is as darkness. Darkness, that is the way of the wicked. There is no light in them. If they have the light of the gospel, then they will turn away from their wickedness. In Psalm 7 verse 9, it says that the wickedness of the wicked shall come upon him. While Psalm 11 verse 2, it mentioned the bow of the wicked. As we go on, you will understand that in Proverbs chapter 10 verse 11, it mentioned the violence. It says violence covereth the mouth of the wicked. Violence cover the mouth of the wicked. In Psalm 37 verse 7, it mentioned the devices of the wicked. While Daniel chapter 12 verse 10, it says the wicked shall do wickedly, but the wicked shall not understand. As we go on in Jeremiah chapter 23 verse 19, he mentioned the head of the wicked. And Psalm 91 verse 8 mentioned the reward. As we go on, you also see that in Micah chapter 6 verse 10, it mentioned that wickedness is in the house of the wicked. Wickedness is in the house of the wicked. Now, look at Matthew. Matthew chapter 13 verse 9. It mentioned the wicked one. In Job chapter 8 verse 22, it mentioned the dwelling place of the wicked. While Job chapter 21 verse 17, he said the candle of the wicked shall be put out. Matthew chapter 13 verse 38, it mentioned the children of the wicked, the descendant, the bloodline of the wicked. In 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 7, it mentioned the filthy conversation of the wicked. As we go on, in the book of Jeremiah chapter 9:35, it said those who refuse to turn from their wicked works. Now look at Matthew chapter 16 verse 4. What did he say? He mentioned a wicked and adulterous generation, which means a generation can be wicked. A generation can be adulterous. In Job chapter 11 verse 20, he mentioned the eyes of the wicked. While Esther chapter 9:25 mentioned the wicked device, and she was making reference to Haman, the wicked device of Haman. Job 9:24 says that the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. You know, when I look at that place, it says the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. So when you see wicked men prosper in the way of the world, when you see, David mentioned in Psalm 73, verse 3, he said, I was envious when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. Now, Job here is mentioning that the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. In John chapter 10, verse 3, talks about the counsel of the wicked. Now, all this we have seen so far, we must understand that God, let me use this as the key takeaway for us to understand. Look, God says that I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but that the wicked should turn from his wicked way so that he can live. That is one. Number two, another takeaway is that the wicked need to turn from his wicked way. Number three, God has made provision for reconciliation. And I close with the last one. Christ is the only way to salvation. God so loved the world, He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in Him will not perish, but have everlasting life. Are you wicked? Do you practice wickedness? Understand from the English word we read that wicked is derived from the word wiccan, which is a wizard, a witch, somebody who practiced witchcraft, somebody who practiced wickedness. So, look at your life. What does it profit you to be wicked? Why do you like hurting people? Why do you like hurting family? Why do you want to have it your own way? And if it is not your own way, then that thing must not take place. Look, our God is kind, our God is gracious. He has sent Jesus to die for our sin. Christ was wounded. Christ was bruised so that you cannot be bruised again. He said a bruised reed He will not break, and a smoking flax He will not quench. I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked. He said, let the wicked forsake his ways, and the unrighteous man his doing, and let him turn to the Lord, and God will abundantly pardon. Are you here? Or do you want to continue your wickedness? In the long run, it will not pay you. But Christ has died for you. Why not come to Christ and get saved? God bless you.